your forecast first with the KX Storm Team.
Well, good afternoon. It's now 4 o'clock. It's Friday and the weekend is here. Thank you for joining us for KX News. I have a live shot here of my camera shaking just a little bit. There are a couple of radar returns showing up in the far northwest, but that's probably not even reaching the ground. The temperatures, yeah, they're still below normal. We've got a lot of 50s up here, 60 in Hettinger, and then some 40s up in Rolla, but still a fairly mild day, not terribly windy. Now, tomorrow is going to be windy, so I'll tell you about that, and I'll have the forecast into next week that includes a warm-up. I'll tell you all about it right here on KX News.
Coming up next on KX News at 4, a sad day in Dickinson. Family, friends, and fellow officers gathered to remember Jason Wallace. And they got it done before the legislature doors slammed shut. We'll tell you why not all lawmakers are behind the new prison budget. Plus, they won't have to wait until the cows come home. Today, state lawmakers celebrate passing a new corporate farm bill.
Putting North Dakota first. KX News at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joel Porter. Thank you for watching KX News at 4. Leading local today, people in Dickinson gathered today to remember and honor Sergeant Jason Wallace. This afternoon, first responders from across the state lined up for a vehicle procession showing support for the Wallace family as well as Dickinson police. Sergeant Wallace was found dead at his home last Friday night. Wallace was born in Minot but raised and went to school in Dickinson. He started as an emergency dispatcher for Dickinson and then was hired by the Stark County Sheriff's Office K-9 unit. He then got to work as a patrol officer and then was promoted to sergeant with Dickinson Police. The community remembers Sergeant Wallace not just as a local hero, but as an important member of the Dickinson family. And they say they want police to know that the community stands with them.
Honor our police officers because they put themselves out there every day and we don't know what they see or do, and so it's important for us to support them and for them to know we support them.
Wallace will be laid to rest in Bow Bells. So far, an official cause of death hasn't been released. This morning, labor advocates were paying tribute to the people who have been killed on the job in North Dakota over the last year. Representatives with the Missouri Slope Central Labor Council showed up to the Capitol this morning to hang ribbons on the trees on the Capitol lawn. Each ribbon bears the name of a person who died in a workplace accident. Clay Nagel, who also advocates for safer working conditions, says so far this year OSHA has reported about 14 deaths on the job. Last year, there were just under 20 in North Dakota. He says he's hopeful state lawmakers will push for future laws to make work sites safer around the state.
There was a bill to allow minors to be on construction sites that, we were hoping, and it got turned into a study, but, I don't want to be up here hanging any ribbons for a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. So that's one that we were glad that didn't pass.
The ribbons will now stay up for 1 week around the Capitol lawn. They saved it for the final week, but state lawmakers finally agreed on a prison budget. The Department of Corrections budget totals over $445 million. It allows the state to hire 22 more workers across the state, which includes parole and probation. One of the more controversial moves would mean closing the women's prison in New England and spending over $160 million to build a new women's jail along the Heart River in Mandan.
And getting the project built in today's dollars would save us money in the long run, as costs do continue to go up every year, and the cost to finance this thing through a bonding thing would mitigate that effect.
I would just like to see the final tab on this bill after this building gets built. And the senator is smiling, and I would like to compare this price tag with that final note.
The budget also includes $4 million for Rough Rider Industries and $8 million for a community behavioral health treatment. In his speech to lawmakers 3 months ago, Governor Doug Burgum said he wanted to take the handcuffs off farmers and ranchers in the state. Today, he celebrated passage of a new corporate farming bill. Today, Governor Burgum signed House Bill 1371 along with bill sponsor Paul Thomas and Ag Commissioner Doug Goring. The bill allows farms and ranches to form corporations and seek outside investment to help grow their operations. Lawmakers compromised on the bill, limiting livestock ranches to 160 acres, while corporate farms can be as large as 640 acres.
This will add so much more to every bushel of grain. It'll help offset expenses because we're going to be able to utilize the manure, something that's more natural, more balanced, more beneficial, improves soil health.
If we could see maybe a medium-sized processing plant, we do have some unique things here in North Dakota. One of those being the intermodal rail facility out of Minot, North Dakota. That's uniquely positioned to potentially send refrigerated carloads of frozen meat products over to Asia in an expedited fashion.
The bill also gives the state ag commissioner authority to shut down or break up a farming corporation that's found to be in violation of the law. The artificial intelligence revolution is upon us. Emerging technologies like chatbots have become almost unavoidable in recent months. Now congressional offices and federal offices are starting to adopt these new technologies. KX News' Anna Wernicke is in Washington to explain.
The next time you reach out to your U.S. representative, Daniel Schuman with Demand Progress says your response could be generated by artificial intelligence.
Chatbot can do a good job of categorizing the communications and making sure that the right person sees it, and even help draft responses.
Schuman briefed staffers last week on how to use AI tools on the Hill.
It can be helpful in drafting letters, drafting speeches.
Schuman says the House Digital Services has given 40 congressional offices licenses to try out ChatGPT+. Other parts of the federal government are also embracing AI. The commissioner of the IRS told lawmakers that the agency handles its high call volume through chatbots.
We have had a very successful filing season, as I understand it, with the introduction of new chatbots for things like getting a transcript.
What can I do as a member of Congress on this august committee to help you do a hell of a lot more of this?
Arizona Republican Congressman David Schweikart says more agencies need to follow suit.
It is remarkable. I've had it write code for me.
But some lawmakers, including Virginia Democratic Senator Mark Warner, are more hesitant.
Artificial intelligence offers a lot of possibilities. It also ought to scare us. Unrestrained AI could literally take over key functions.
Warner says adopting the technology is unavoidable, but he wants to make sure it's done safely. In Washington, I'm Anna Wernicke.
Coming up next on KX News at 4, we look at a school called Exceptional Minds, and they specialize in getting students ready for a career in Hollywood, even if they happen to be on the spectrum. Plus, pay up or else. It's a scam that preys on people's worst fears. We'll tell you what you should do if you're targeted for a ransom. And Tom says hang on to your hat. He's expecting a few windy days in the full forecast.
with the KX News Storm Team.
I'm former KX meteorologist Joe Goldaddy. Don't change the station, it'll only be a minute. I'm actually here to say goodbye to Tom Schrader. Tom, you've volunteered to mentor me since I was in the 7th grade. You've given me opportunities that I would not have had otherwise. But for now, I need to say goodbye to the on-air meteorologist, Tom Schrader, and I'll do so with the question that most of us have asked you at some point in time. Hey Tom, how's the weather?
Hey Tom, today is the day. We've been counting down to this day for well over a year, and you deserve all the good things that are happening to you today and beyond. I am honored to have worked under you for well over a decade, and I know the folks watching this right now are honored to have had you on their airwaves for as long as they have. So one last time from me, hey Tom, how's the weather?
Well, just a little while ago, I was talking with Amber Wheeler. She is in New Orleans, and Joe Goldaddy is right over there, and I am just honored that you made the trip. Oh, and trust me, it stunned me. It's a good thing he came in after the forecast first, or I wouldn't have been able to talk. Now, this is Severe Weather Awareness Week, and let me go over the subject today. It is about flash floods. So the phrase the Weather Service uses is, when flooded, turn around, don't drown. And 12 inches of fast-moving water can carry away a small car. 6 inches can knock you over and carry you away. And let's say, oh, hey, I've got a big truck, an SUV, 18 inches of water can move that truck or SUV easily. So if we're getting the storms that provide or do some flash flooding, which happens here in North Dakota, get to higher ground. Don't drive into the water. And of course, stay informed with the NOAA Weather Radio and KXNet.com. Temperatures right now are in the 40s, kind of along the east, like Medina at 49, a lot of 50s to around 60 degrees, Bismarck at 59, Minot at 50, Williston 56. The wind is roughly 5 to 15 miles an hour. There's a couple of exceptions. It's a little bit breezier in the southwest right there. And we did get a few wind gusts here. They're not as bad as they have been. They're generally out of the northwest at this point in time. And looking at our precision cast, here we are. So we've got some hit and miss clouds, and there looks like there have been a few rain showers off to the east. Did you drive through any rain, Joe? No. No, okay, didn't drive through any rain. But anyway, during the overnight hours into tomorrow morning, notice how it's just showing up a little bit. There's the possibility of a couple of sprinkles, and I mean 20% chance, nothing more than that. But you can see during the nighttime hours how that happened. Now, tomorrow morning, if you're going to be maybe traveling, because it is the weekend, you might run into some rain showers off to the east tomorrow morning. And then by noon, it looks like a lot of us will have a fairly sunny sky. Now, the other side of the coin here, while it'll be sunny, it is going to be windy. Some of the wind gusts tomorrow could be pushing 40, 45 miles an hour. And then as we get into tomorrow night around 5 o'clock, and it's kind of weird this time of year, and as cool as it is to say heating the day, but it's all kind of relative. We have the potential for maybe some afternoon showers popping up here or there. I'm certainly not expecting any big thunderstorms or anything like that. But if you are traveling, just know that you might be running into a little bit of rain here or there. And then as we get into Saturday night, look at this. We still have that clear sky in western North Dakota. Now, it's entirely possible, and I'm sure meteorologist Amy Metz is going to be talking about, because she's a space weather expert, you know, we'll have to check and see if the northern lights are out again with the clear sky. That's kind of a good thing for that when that happens. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 72-hour planner for Dickinson, and it is going to be pretty windy tomorrow. Wind gusts roughly 35, 40 miles an hour. Temperatures are going to be below average, and as we look at the Williston 7-day, still pretty windy, close to 60 degrees tomorrow, except it'll be windy, and then temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. Next week, we're going to have some warmer weather. So as we look at the low temperatures tonight, most temperatures will be in the 30s, but if you're in western North Dakota, you might be around 40 degrees, so stay above freezing tonight. That's nice. And then for tomorrow, what we're looking for is daytime temperatures in the 50s for most locations. Now, Sidney, Montana, you might get into the low 60s, but other than that, most of us will be in the 50s. That still puts us around 5, 6 degrees below average. But next week, at least for a couple of days, we're going to see some much warmer temperatures. So here's a look at the Bismarck 7-day, and look at that, 66 on Tuesday, 74 on Wednesday. Won't that be nice? And for the Minot area, we're going to be in the 50s, 60s, maybe a degree or two cooler in Minot compared to Bismarck, but still, Joel, those are some great temperatures. I know you're looking forward to it because I know you like to get out and jog. To me, that would seem like perfect jogging weather.
That is pretty ideal. Anywhere 60s and 70s, that's downright pleasant.
That looks like good weather next week.
All right, we can't wait. Thanks so much, Tom. Still to come on KX News at 4.
A scary ransom scam is leaving victims terrified. I'm Danya Backus with what you need to know about virtual kidnappings.
You're watching KX News, putting North Dakota first.
The FBI says Americans lost more than $54 million in extortion scams last year. One of those scams has victims believing their loved one has been kidnapped. Danya Backus has the details.
A few weeks ago, Terry Ray Elmer was at home when the phone rang.
I hear this just screeching, high-pitched screaming. Mommy, 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 you have to help me. I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. And it sounded like my older daughter. And then this man comes on the phone. He said, you're going to give me $5,000 or I'm going to hold the phone up and you can listen while I start cutting your daughter's fingers off one by one.
The caller said he was nearby, and that's when Elmer realized it was a scam because she knew her daughter was in another state at the time.
And that's when I finally hung up on him. And I immediately called both daughters.
And they were okay?
They were fine.
Elmer didn't lose any money, but that's not often the case. Last year, Rio Brown told us how scam artists use spoofing technology to make it look like the call was coming from her mom's phone.
And he said, we're going to kill your parents if you don't listen.
The caller ordered her to send 3 transactions through a payment app. Later, she figured out it was a scam.
Is this usually a situation where this is random or targeted?
It's both. Sometimes it's random, sometimes it's targeted.
Michael Peasley is the FBI's unit chief for the International Violent Crime Unit.
The first thing we tell people is before you do anything, hang up the phone and try to contact your loved one.
He says if that's not possible, start asking the caller questions.
Give us some of the questions that people can ask to be able to confirm.
Sure, you could use something simple as, what was our first dog's name? Or what's my middle name?
A simple step that can keep you from becoming a victim. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Coming up on KX News at 4, we take a look at a nonprofit that uses the latest technology to train students on the spectrum for a career in Hollywood.
You're watching KX News, putting North Dakota first.
A nonprofit called Exceptional Minds is helping students with their autism channel their creativity into a career in Hollywood. What's unique is that it's one part school, one part animation house, so students can get started on real freelance gigs as soon as they graduate. Rich DeMuro shows us how it works.
We're going to go into our Intermediate 3D room.
At Exceptional Minds, students are preparing for a career in Hollywood.
We're teaching them things like 2D animation, 3D animation, game level design.
The Los Angeles area nonprofit uses the latest technology to teach.
We're basically learning and dealing with everything that we're going to be using whenever we get into new jobs.
Students are taught job skills and skills for a job.
It's cool finding out that I'm not alone and that there's people that I can actually talk to.
Exceptional Minds caters to neurodiverse students on the autism spectrum.
Student may have a little bit of a different perspective on the world.
The environment is friendly and welcoming.
The challenge for somebody on the spectrum in this day and age is for the world not to stereotype them and not let that stigma get to them.
Students proudly show off their growing portfolios and work on animations in class.
We're having them create a walk cycle, a run cycle, a jump, and then a fourth action of their choice.
Some equipment is provided by Apple's Community Grants program. Students lean heavily on drawing tablets, computers, and the latest software used by studios.
Essentially, it's just about them showing like, hey, I have the capability of doing this. I have the capability of being successful in this way.
Once students graduate from the school, there are real freelance jobs waiting for them behind this top secret visual effects studio door.
We get real clients, we get real budgets, and they have real deadlines. And in that way, they can work on projects
build a portfolio, build a resume, and apply for different jobs.
A program that builds creativity and confidence for powerful results.
It's drawing attention to us, I think, will lead to positive social change in workplaces.
Sounds like a pretty fascinating gig. Meanwhile, let's take another look out at the forecast with meteorologist Tom Schrader.
Now, your local weather with the KX Storm Team.
Yeah, Joel, it's actually going to be a pretty nice night tonight. There's not going to be a lot of wind. It's Friday night. People are heading out, doing some fun things. The temperatures tonight, I think, for the most of us are going to be in the 30s, but notice how they're farther away from the freezing mark than they were early this morning, so that's a bit of an improvement. And then tomorrow, widespread 50s to around 60 degrees. Now, these temperatures will continue to be just a tiny bit below average, but it is going to warm up by next week. Now, between now and next week, we have a weekend, and I'll have all those weather details coming up for you in just a little while.
We're waiting for it, excited for some more sunshine. Thanks so much, Tom. Stay tuned. We have more to come in our next half hour on KX News at 4. Stay with us. There's plenty more still ahead on KX News at 4, including Severe Summer Weather Awareness Week continues. Today we're talking about wildfire danger. Sportsmen threw a line out to state lawmakers asking for a break. We'll tell you what happened with a fishing tournament bill this session. Plus,
Florida leads the world in shark attacks, raising the fear factor. I'm Christian Benavides in Riviera Beach with the high likelihood it won't happen to you.
Welcome back to KX News at 4. I'm Joel Porter. As we continue Severe Summer Weather Awareness Week, North Dakota is no stranger to wildfires. In the spring of 2021, first responders fought a wildfire in Medora that burned 3,000 acres. According to the North Dakota Forest Service, you need 3 factors for a wildfire. You have to have fuel. In North Dakota, that's mainly grass and vegetation. You also need oxygen and a source of heat, like a spark. Though some fires can start naturally from lightning, the main cause of wildfires is humans.
The 2 biggest causes of man-made fire in North Dakota is debris burning and equipment use. So debris burning would be anything from burning sloughs, anything like piles of grass, clippings, leaves, those kind of things as well. And so when you are burning, we kind of recommend doing it either in the morning or in the night, because the humidity is going to be higher and the wind is much more likely to not be as high. And
the North Dakota Forest Service says it's easier to prevent wildfires than it is to stop them once they've started. Later on this evening, we'll talk more about how weather plays a role in wildfires as well. North Dakota lawmakers bit on one bill this week, hook, line, and sinker, which could make it easier for anglers who want to host fishing tournaments. House Bill 1538 replaces the 10% conservation fee charged by Game and Fish with a $75 application fee for people who want to host a fishing contest. Supporters who testified this winter say the fee was too costly and made it more difficult for many high schools trying to form their own fishing teams. The bill also increases the price of non-resident fishing licenses by $5.
So, Madam President, for the cost of a box of worms to the out-of-state fishermen, we can now generate over $1 million potentially for local infrastructure projects at our access points.
Certain groups would be exempt from paying the conservation fee, including nonprofits, veterans, schools, and other charities. Sharks have a reputation for being one of the scariest fish in the sea, and Florida was recently named the shark bite capital of the world. But how much do we really need to fear sharks? CBS News correspondent Christian Benavides dives into that question.
Florida native Forrest Crook now looks a former fear right in the eyes. The 68-year-old is swimming just above a bull shark, and that's me next to him, shark snorkeling.
When I decided to do this, it was one of those things that I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm not afraid.
You got to get the right shark, the right conditions.
Ryan Walton runs Shark Tours Florida in Riviera Beach.
Hell yeah!
Taking the curious and courageous straight to the sharks.
People fear what they don't understand. Once people understand sharks and what sharks are about, it's easy to coexist with them.
Fear of sharks is at least partly driven by headlines like those proclaiming Florida the global shark bite capital. Last year, there were 57 unprovoked shark bites worldwide, 16 in Florida. Of all the attacks, 5 were fatal.
The truth is, you're far more likely to die by a lightning strike or be killed by a cow than from encountering a shark.
Most of these bites aren't really dangerous at all.
Marine biologist Mike Heithaus says shark bites are usually a case of mistaken identity.
They see a hand flash and it looks like a fish that they might eat.
Experts say you can minimize the risk of a shark encounter by swimming with a buddy closer to shore and avoiding the water at night. Advice Crook says he's followed each of the 14 times he's now been swimming with the sharks. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Riviera Beach, Florida.
Believe it or not, falling coconuts are thought to be more deadly to humans than sharks. Well, if you like coconuts and sharks, boy, you came to the right place in North Dakota. Coming up next on KX News at 4, UMary is adding a new sport to campus. The coach says he's looking for a few crack shots. And Bison fans have been cheering on Hunter all season. Now he's waiting to see if he's picked to go pro. And it looks like a nice sunny weekend, but it could be some wind to go with it. Tom tells us how windy in the full forecast.
your local weather with the KX News Storm Team.
I'm former KX meteorologist Joe Goldaddy. Don't change the station, I'll only be a minute. I'm actually here to say goodbye to Tom Schrader. Tom, you've volunteered to mentor me since I was in the 7th grade. You've given me opportunities that I would not have had otherwise. But for now, I need to say goodbye to the on-air meteorologist, Tom Schrader, and I'll do so with the question that most of us have asked you at some point in time. Hey Tom, how's the weather?
Hey Tom, today is the day. We've been counting down to this day for well over a year, and you deserve all the good things that are happening to you today and beyond. I am honored to have worked under you for well over a decade, and I know the folks watching this right now are honored to have had you on their airwaves for as long as they have. So one last time from me, hey Tom, how's the weather?
Well, first off, I just want to thank Joe Goldaddy first because he's standing right over there. It was a road trip from the cities and showed up and got here for the last newscast, and I can't tell you how much that means to me. Amber Wheeler, we've talked, and it's not exactly a day trip from New Orleans, but just two people that I couldn't have done this job without over the past 26 years. So right now we're looking at Bismarck, and you can see a few of the clouds in the sky. The temperature in Bismarck, 59 degrees, winds out of the west-northwest at 15. In Minot, it's 50 degrees, west-northwest wind at 13 miles an hour. So looking around western North Dakota and eastern Montana, some of the warmest weather right now is in eastern Montana. You can see Wolf Point at 64. Garrison is at 54 degrees right now. A little cooler up in Rolla at 48, and I think Medina was in the 40s just a little while ago. Looks like Medina now at 51. Wind is roughly 5 to 15 miles an hour with a couple of exceptions, like in Bowman, it's over 20 miles an hour. Now, we have had some stronger wind gusts in the 25 mile an hour range. And I think for a lot of us, the wind is actually going to drop off tonight. So if you're heading out to maybe for a Friday night, you're not going to be dealing with a lot of wind. Now, the wind's going to pick up tomorrow, but tonight, not a bad thing. Now, the radar is showing, it did show like a couple of returns there. If the air is so dry right now, that's probably not even reaching the ground. And even that is showing like it's up into Canada. And looking at our precision cast, yeah, even the computer model's picking up just that teeny tiny chance. I've got the odds of like 20% for rain tonight, and that means it's a much better chance it won't happen. And then tonight into tomorrow morning, it's still, by even later on tonight, just a chance of a couple of sprinkles. By the time you get up tomorrow morning, most of the rain is going to be off to the east, but notice this, the sky looks to be clearing out a little bit, so that'll be nice, and maybe a few clouds in the southwest, but the big story tomorrow is it's going to be windy. Some of the wind gusts out of the north or northwest, roughly 40, 45 miles an hour. So that's something that during the day tomorrow, you're going to notice it. Now, if you have outdoor plans this weekend and you have a choice of which day it is, pick Sunday because it won't be nearly as windy. Now, it might even be a degree or two cooler, but it'll be a lot less windy. So, and then as we get to lunchtime tomorrow, again, a lot of clear sky over central North Dakota, maybe a few clouds in the west. And then by tomorrow night around 5 o'clock, it looks like there's likely going to be some hit and miss showers from place to place. And then as we get into Saturday night at 10 o'clock, any of those afternoon showers that pop up, they'll be winding down at night, still have that clear sky. So looking at temperatures tonight, overnight lows will be in the 30s to around 40 degrees like they were this morning, except these are more like mid to upper 30s as opposed to low 30s. And then for tomorrow, a lot of temperatures will be back into the 50s, pretty much all across western North Dakota. Here's a look at the Bismarck 7-day outlook, and it is going to be windy pretty much everywhere tomorrow, just a little bit breezy on Sunday. But look at that, 60s and 70s for at least a few days next week. Won't that be nice? And here's the Minot temperatures, and we're looking at 60s and 70s by the Tuesday of next week. We could be in the 60s and 70s. This week, however, is Severe Weather Awareness Week, and this is the day that we kind of wrap everything up. This is in conjunction with the National Weather Service, and the focus today is on flash floods. And I know there's a phrase that I see all over the Weather Service page, and it says, when flooded, turn around, don't drown. There's a lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of people die in flash floods in their car. And that is actually a preventable death because just don't drive into it. But 12 inches of fast-moving water can carry away a small car. 6 inches can knock you over and carry you away, and you will not be able to stand up again. 18 inches can take away most trucks or large SUVs. So this is not something to mess with. Again, there's a lot of people that die in flash floods. All of them, probably 99.9% of them, are preventable. So get to higher ground. Don't drive into the water. So Joel, that puts the wraps on Severe Weather Awareness Week. And of course, you know, we haven't really got to our severe weather season yet. But sometimes that starts even in early to mid-May. We start getting some strong storms. And I was talking to Amy Metz, and we had a big meeting last Tuesday. And we've got everything all set up for the summer to make sure that the coverage continues to be really, really good.
Let's hope so. A lot of people do count on that and just how quickly things can change.
They can in a heartbeat, yeah.
All right, thanks so much, Tom. More to come on KX News at 4. The NFL Draft continues, and one NDSU fullback is waiting with his fingers crossed.
You're watching KX News, putting North Dakota first.
A new sport is coming to the University of Mary. Trap shooting. Today, UMary announced Shotgun Sports as the 20th Marauders sports program they're bringing to campus. It's open to men and women in time for the new school year. Shotgun Sports are already offered as programs throughout North Dakota and parts of the upper Midwest. The executive director of intercollegiate athletics at UMary, Cooper Jones, says it's a good fit because people in the area love the outdoors, they love to hunt and shoot, and they understand firearms. The Marauders will be coached by longtime marksman Mark Sandness, and they'll compete as part of the USA College Clay Target League. Sandness says he hopes to start the team with 20 men and women this fall. NDSU Bison fans know the name Hunter Luepke well. The fullback from Wisconsin helped lead the Bison with 13 touchdowns on a trip back to the FCS championship. Now Luepke wants to play on Sundays, and reporter Noah Manderfeld talked with Luepke as he's anxiously waiting and watching the NFL draft.
The makings of an NFL draft prospect started on the fields of Spencer.
I was really passionate about football ever since I stepped on the field in second grade. I love football, and I wanted to be on the field as much as possible.
Lipke became a force in the backfield. He ran for nearly 4,200 yards in his final 3 years. The NFL was already on his mind.
I set my goals really high from a young age, and I worked towards those.
That remained true when Lipke put pen to paper to go to North Dakota State, but the end zone was still yards away.
I thought I learned quite a bit in high school just with football and mental strength, but you get to college and you just got to keep learning, and then you'll get to the next level and you'll keep learning.
Lipke was a first-team All-American fullback in 3 years with the Bison. He dominated in a national championship.
Lipke, touchdown, his third of this championship game.
And created an identity of versatility.
If I'm on the field, I'm happy. So anywhere I can be, that's my goal, is just to be out there.
A shoulder injury cut short his senior season, but the fullback returned for NDSU's Pro Day to showcase his skills. He's currently projected to go anywhere from rounds 4 to 7.
I'm trying not to think about it too much, trying to stay, calm and collective, control the things that I can control.
For now, the Spencer native waits to fulfill his dream this weekend, one that began in the red and white.
To be able to be one step closer to achieving my childhood dreams and my goals that I've had for however many years now is, unreal.
Lipke says many of his family and friends will be traveling to Fargo to help support him, but he and his wife will be watching the draft separately from everybody before joining them afterwards, so best of luck to him. Plenty more coming up on KX News at 4. We're saying bon voyage to somebody we've all watched, learned, and loved for many years.
You're watching KX News, putting North Dakota first.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is a somber one for the KX team here, and I'm not going to cry. I told myself I'm not going to cry.
If you need it.
And I have tissue, so we are prepared. But, Tom, there are no words to tell you what you've not only done for KX, but for North Dakota. And I know you hate surprises, but I have a surprise for you, just for you to look back over your time here. Let's take a look.
Good evening, I'm meteorologist Tom Schrader. Well, the severe weather continues to rumble across western and north central.
There are few people who rise to the level of legendary. But KX News' Tom Schrader is one of the few who has earned that title in more ways than one. Ask anyone.
So inspiring.
Very, very giving.
Very dependable.
Genuine.
Their biggest cheerleader.
He's just the best guy.
He genuinely was a team player. If there was something that needed to be done, he would volunteer to do it, and would offer up any kind of assistance that he could. So that really hasn't changed, though, throughout all of the years too, knowing Tom.
In 1996, Tom captured viewers' hearts with an intense passion for weather and his devotion to North Dakota. How did we get so lucky?
The next big storm we're watching, however, is this big low out over Siberia.
I'll never forget the day that Tom came to interview for the job. It was in February, and it was 14 below zero, Tom tells me. And he was flying in from Phoenix, of all things, and I just thought, oh, there's no way he's going to take this job. No way he's going to say yes.
Despite the frigid days,
in the mid to upper 30s. It's going to be pretty nice tomorrow.
He moved his life to the Magic City. Now, 26 years later, with his roots firmly planted, he embodies everything North Dakota stands for: loyalty, hard work, and tradition.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Tom. How's the weather? How's the weather? How's the weather?
Hey, Tom, how's the weather? Tom Schrader goes hand in hand with North Dakota weather. I've had people come up to me over the years and tell me that hearing his voice during severe weather has made them feel safe.
Even though a lot of the time he is in the studio, giving the forecast, he sees it as he's in someone's home and he's talking to them personally.
Your weatherman.
Kind of a whammy of a storm tonight.
A mentor.
Make sure you have a KXND TV winter survival kit in your vehicle.
Nobody back there.
A best friend.
Tom and Heather rolled up their sleeves and set up shop for the season.
A husband and a father.
I've got my son Nick, he's helping me here, so go ahead and keep putting those in there and we'll get 6 really good ones, all right?
When I was younger, I remember going into the studio at 3 o'clock in the morning for severe weather to keep all the viewers and everybody safe. He's such an amazing weatherman and an even more amazing father.
To have him there by my side on the desk throughout all those hours was absolutely invaluable.
He will be in our history books.
Tom Schrader is weather in western North Dakota, and he has been for decades now.
Tom's on-air chapter may be closing, but the guiding voice of North Dakota will never be forgotten.
For tomorrow, it'll be partly cloudy early and more. I always thought that peas come out of a green jungle. Absolutely.
Meteorologist Tom Schrader's
his forecast. Okay, you're good. Okay, that was the other. The weather details for the weekend and beyond, they're coming up.
I've been honored to be invited into people's homes for 26 years. It's something that I will never forget, and I'm just honored they trusted me.
Thank you, Tom, for being there for everybody.
Thank you, Tom, for everything. I just love you so much.
I hope you have the best retirement. Congratulations.
I love you, Tom.
You go, brother. We love you.
Love you, Dad.
Love you, Tom.
Love you, Tom. We love you so much.
Love you, Tom, and hey, Tom, how's the weather?
Thank you, Tom, so much for everything.
I just don't know what to say. And I can guarantee you that there isn't a day that I work that there wasn't somebody helping me. So to give me all the credit, no, because I always had help.
You really paved the way for so many people. And I think I speak for all of North Dakota when I say you are truly, truly going to be missed.
Thank you so much.
And congratulations on 26 amazing years.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Am I supposed to do my last look now?
I know we were debating to see if you would do last look, but
don't go away. And
maybe we can toss it back to Joel. We're crying over here, so we might need a few minutes.
Actually, I'm talking to the producer. Oh, there we go. I'm going to do the last look. Joel, is that okay?
Yep, ready when you are.
Okay, I'm going to do the last look. So Let's take a look at the temperatures right now because we've got kind of a cool day. Temperatures are in the 50s to around 60 degrees. And then tonight we're going to be in the 30s to around 40 or so. Tomorrow, another cool day tomorrow. It's going to be windy. And again, I'm just stunned right now. I'm running out of words, and I'm trying really hard not to need this tissue. So it's not that I'm not emotional. I'm just trying not to need it right now.
Well, we appreciate everything that you've done, and thank you for being my friend and my sounding board. And I just appreciate you so much.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Joel.
Thank you, guys, and thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you back here for KX News at 5.
Now your forecast first with the KX Storm Team.
Well, good afternoon. It's 5 o'clock on a Friday. That means the weekend is here. Thank you for joining us for KX News. Have a live shot of Harvey. Wanted to show KHND Radio. They've been simulcasting our newscast on KX for years. Just want to, since I have a chance now, to thank Rick Jensen, who owns KHND Radio, for being such a supporter. So thank you, Rick. Looking at temperatures right now, we are at the 50s to around 60 degrees or so. Still have that northerly wind. The wind is really going to crank up tomorrow. I'll tell you about that, and I'll tell you about some warmer weather, all coming up right here on KX News at 5.
Coming up next on KX News at 5, a solemn reminder around the state capitol. Advocates are remembering people who didn't come home from work. And they've worked all session, but lawmakers reach a deal on a big prison budget. We'll tell you what some of that money will pay for. Plus, some big dollars rolling into the family farm. The governor celebrates the signing of a new corporate farm bill.
Putting North Dakota first. KX News at 5 starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joel Porter. Thank you for watching KX News at 5. Leading local today, this morning, labor advocates were paying tribute to the people who have been killed on the job in North Dakota over the last year. Representatives with the Missouri Slope Central Labor Council showed up to the Capitol this morning to hang ribbons on the trees along the Capitol lawn. Each ribbon bears the name of a person who died in a workplace accident. Clay Nagel, who also represents the Electrical Workers Union, says fortunately workplace deaths in North Dakota dropped to fewer than 20 last year.
I hope every year gets a little bit better. I mean, every year though, North Dakota always ranks in the bottom of the nation as far as safety on job sites and going to work. The last labor statistics were from 2021 and we were 49th in the nation.
The ribbons will stay up for 1 week around the Capitol lawn. They saved it for the final week, but state lawmakers finally agreed on a prison budget. The Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation budget totals over $445 million and includes funding for the state to hire 22 more workers across the state, which includes parole and probation. One of the more controversial moves would mean closing the women's prison in New England and spending over $160 million to build a new women's jail along the Hart River in Mandan.
$161 million is really the cost if we built it tomorrow. The cost of this is going to balloon. It's going to be very much more than this.
The budget also includes $4 million for Rough Rider Industries and $8 million for community behavioral health treatment. The North Dakota Highway Patrol is now looking into the cause of a semi-trailer that overturned along I-94 today. That crash happened about 40 miles west of Jamestown near exit 217. From this video, it appears some of the freight spilled out of the trailer. Troopers briefly shut down a lane of traffic while crews were cleaning up the area, but both lanes were reopened by 3 o'clock this afternoon. So far, it doesn't appear that anybody was hurt. One of the last major bills to pass at the state capitol, Governor Burgum and lawmakers are celebrating a new corporate farm bill. Today, the governor signed House Bill 1371 along with bill sponsor Paul Thomas and Ag Commissioner Doug Goring. The bill allows farms and ranches to seek and form corporations and seek outside investment to grow their operations. Lawmakers compromised on the bill, limiting livestock ranches to 160 acres, while corporate farms can be as large as 640 acres.
Principal ownership has to be maintained by those family farmers actively working and managing that farm. So that percentage is required to be the majority percent. So the capital coming in can never exceed the amount of capital that's owned by those people that are making the day-to-day work and management decisions on there.
The bill also gives the state ag commissioner authority to shut down or break up a farming corporation that's found to be in violation of the law. North Dakota lawmakers bit on one bill this week, hook, line, and sinker, that might make it easier for anglers who want to have fishing contests. House Bill 1538 replaces the 10% conservation fee charged by Game and Fish with a $75 application fee for people wanting to host a fishing contest. Supporters who testified this winter say the fee was too costly and made it more difficult for many high schools trying to form their own fishing teams. The bill also increases the price of non-resident fishing licenses by $5.
So, Madam President, for the cost of a box of worms to the out-of-state fishermen, we can now generate over $1 million potentially for local infrastructure projects at our access points.
Senator Dale Patton says local groups could negotiate conservation fees for future tournaments so long as they report it to the Game and Fish Department. Coming up on KX News at 5, a special tribute on one of football's biggest nights. We'll tell you how the NFL remembered 3 men taken too soon. Plus, a gloomy sign for the economy. The Fed signals interest rates are going up again. And the good news is Tom says the temp is going up also. He'll tell us how warm next week looks in the full forecast.
local weather with the KX News Storm Team.
I'm former KX meteorologist Joe Goldaddy. Don't change the station, it'll only be a minute. I'm actually here to say goodbye to Tom Schrader. Tom, you volunteered to mentor me since I was in the 7th grade. You've given me opportunities that I would not have had otherwise. But for now, I need to say goodbye to the on-air meteorologist, Tom Schrader, and I'll do so with the question that most of us have asked you at some point in time. Hey, Tom, how's the weather?
Hey Tom, today is the day. We've been counting down to this day for well over a year, and you deserve all the good things that are happening to you today and beyond. I am honored to have worked under you for well over a decade, and I know the folks watching this right now are honored to have had you on their airwaves for as long as they have. So one last time from me, hey Tom, how's the weather?
Well, first off, obviously I want to thank Joe. Joe made the trip here from the cities, rolled in right at 4 o'clock, just a total surprise. Amber and I talked. It's kind of a long day trip to get here from New Orleans, and so I know that she wanted to be here, but two of the people that I've closest to in this entire business, and I learned a lot from them, and I just want to thank them, and especially for making today all that more special. So let's take a look at Severe Weather Week, or Weather Awareness Week, because today's the last day. We're putting the wraps on it with flash floods, and the National Weather Service likes to say, when flooded, turn around, don't drown. And 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock you over, carry you away. 1 foot of water can carry away a small car, and 18 inches of fast-moving water can carry away most large trucks and SUVs. And people that drown in flash floods, the vast majority of them could be prevented. They did something dumb and drove into a place they shouldn't. So get to higher ground. Do not drive into the water, and of course stay informed with a NOAA weather radio, because you can program them now, so if you're at the lake, you're not going to hear about storms somewhere else. And of course KXNet.com. Tuesday, meteorologist Amy Metz and I and the rest of the KX Storm team, we had a meeting. We were talking about severe weather coverage, and they have got some plans for you this year, so this is the place to be. So looking at temperatures right now, 50s for most locations to around 60 degrees. It is breezy. I expect the winds to drop off some tonight. They're really going to pick back up tomorrow. Still getting some wind gusts around 30 miles an hour. Kind of depends where you're at. Here's our precision cast. Tonight, there's the 20% chance of maybe a sprinkle here or there. And the atmosphere is pretty dry. It may not even hit the ground. But by tomorrow morning, the sky is going to be clearing out a little bit. And throughout the day, a lot of us will have some sunshine. All of us will have a lot of wind, could be anywhere between 35 to 45 miles an hour across western North Dakota. And by Saturday afternoon, there may be some spots where things are just kind of popping up here or there. Not expecting big storms or anything like that. So looking at low temperatures tonight, they're going to fall into the 30s to around 40 degrees, which is a little bit better than it was this morning. And then for tomorrow, it looks like daytime temperatures in the 50s to around 60 degrees. And as we take a look at the Bismarck 7-day, looks like a decent weekend. I think Sunday's going to be nicer outside than Saturday, even though it's a little bit cooler, simply because it's not going to be as windy. So that would be the day if you've got outdoor plans, you can choose either day to do it. Sunday's probably your day, but check out those temperatures. Joel, we are talking about some really nice, finally real spring weather next week.
Well, it's been so long. I mean, we had one taste of 60s for about 10 minutes, then we were right back down to 30s again.
We had 1 day of spring. Yeah, we had 1 day of spring.
We knew it had to come eventually. I didn't want to think we had to wait till, what, 4th of July to get a 71-degree day, but thankfully our prayers have been answered here. All right, thank you, Tom. Next in our 5 at 5, save a few dollars for mom. Even with inflation, more people plan to go out and get something nice for Mother's Day. Plus, a bit of a scare on a school bus ride. One boy acts fast when his driver isn't feeling so well.
You're watching KX News, putting North Dakota first.
In today's 5 at 5, former Vice President Mike Pence testified before a federal grand jury for more than 7 hours as part of an investigation into efforts by former President Trump to overturn the 2020 election. Pence's appearance before the grand jury could be a sign the special counsel is closer to making a decision about whether to indict the former president.
We welcome to the NFL family Deshaun Perry, Lavelle Davis, and Devin Chandler of the University of Virginia.
It was an emotional tribute last night at the start of the NFL draft. Commissioner Roger Goodell honored Deshaun Perry, Devin Chandler, and Lavelle Davis as honorary draft picks. The 3 Virginia football players were killed in a campus shooting last November. Perry was a pick for the Miami Dolphins, while Davis was a selection for the Baltimore Ravens, and Chandler was a draft by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rising interest rates and inflation appear to have taken a toll on the U.S. economy the first quarter of the year. New data shows the nation's gross domestic product grew by an annual rate of 1.1%. That's less than the nearly 2% growth that analysts had predicted. A new survey shows U.S. consumers plan to spend about $35.7 billion when it comes to Mother's Day. The National Retail Federation says 84% of Americans will celebrate the holiday. Some top gift items: flowers, greeting cards, and taking mom someplace nice. A Michigan middle schooler is being hailed as a hero after he saved the lives of his classmates and his bus driver. It happened in Warren, and that's a Detroit suburb. The bus driver was taking students home from school when he got lightheaded. 7th grader Dylan Reeves ran up and helped to stop the bus when he saw that the driver was in trouble. First responders arrived on the scene and took care of the driver. The students who were on board that day got on another bus where they were all dropped off at home. So some quick thinking really paid off there. Coming up, more on KX News at 5. Obesity is a big problem in America, but a new drug could help many lose some extra pounds.
You're watching KX News, putting North Dakota first.
High schoolers are receiving a poor grade when it comes to healthy lifestyles, and a new drug could combat obesity. Michael George has more in today's Your Health First.
New findings show a diabetes drug being tested for weight loss is showing promise. Eli Lilly reported that in their study, tirzepatide helped overweight and obese diabetics lose up to 16% of their body weight over 17 months. People without diabetes lost even more weight. The company is applying for fast-track approval from the FDA. The diabetes drug Ozempic has been making headlines recently as many Americans are using the drug off-label for weight loss. New CDC data finds substance use among U.S. high school students declined during the last decade, but vaping increased. The Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance Report also found most high schoolers in America do not meet daily recommendations for eating fruits and vegetables or engaging in physical activity. And scientists have successfully engineered a way to extend the lifespan of cells in an effort to slow the aging process. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego genetically rewired the circuit that controls aging in yeast cells, leading to an 82% increase in lifespan. The team is now expanding its research to human cells. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Hey, we'll all live to be 250. How about that? Stay tuned. Coming up next, we'll have one last look at that forecast with meteorologist Tom Schrader.
You're watching KX News, putting North Dakota first.
Well, before I leave, I want to thank you for inviting me into your homes for the last 26 years. You trusted me enough to be the one you turned to when thunderstorms and tornadoes were on the way, and you trusted me enough to follow me on Facebook Live. Trusting me for 26 years is something I never expected, never took for granted. I truly enjoyed meeting so many of you over the years at the park, at the store, at the state fair. I loved it when you came up and said, "Hey Tom, how's the weather?" It's a great way to start talking to you. I remember all those school visits, talking to kids about weather. And of course there was the KX Weather Kids, the parades, and I met you so many places across this beautiful state. I could share memories for hours, but I want to get to thanking David Wrighton for allowing Jim Olson to take a chance on me. Jim was the best boss anybody could hope to learn from. Jim had the passion to be good, and it rubbed off on all of us fortunate to work for him. Jim never let us settle for, "Well, that's good enough." That didn't work, but it made us all better broadcasters. I've had the privilege of working with some of the best in the business, people like Alicia Huck, Debbie Keene, Lauren Shahadi, Perry Olson, Mike Elm, Sean Sitma, Jennifer Kleen, and recently my friend Becky Farr. Each of them always brought their A game, and I never wanted to be left behind. Now, those are some names you know, but there are some folks behind the scenes that you probably don't know that I want to say thank you, like Mike Heilman. If something needed to be done or figured out, he was the guy to ask because Mike can do anything. Also, over the years, I got to be featured in some really creative weather promos, and that's because of Brent Braniff, who's one of the most creative people in the business. Also, most recently, I've had the fortune to have Jen Churchill as the producer of KX News at 4 and 5. Jen has looked out for me like nobody else and has made my weathercast much easier to do. I also want to thank John Paul Martin from the National Weather Service in Bismarck. See, over the years, I would call the National Weather Service and I'd ask them something about a severe thunderstorm or a tornado or whatever. JP and, of course, the rest of the National Weather Service staff in Bismarck were always willing to help us anytime we called. And on top of that, over the years, JP and I became good friends. So thank you, John Paul. And what about the best part of TV, the video? I was fortunate enough to work with two world-class photographers in Perry Mall and Galen Ness. They could produce a story with nothing but pictures and music, and it quite often was the best story on TV that day. Oh, by the way, Perry's the one that thought of, hey, Tom, how's the weather? And I can't think of one single thing that has as much impact on me and KX. And it gave you an easy way to start a conversation with me. Thank you, Perry. Oh, and by the way, Perry and his wife, Margot, tried figuring out how many Hey Toms we've shot, and their best estimate over 26 years, 18,000 of them. And now I want to thank two special people, Joe Goldaddy and Amber Wheeler. Joe worked here at a very early age and joined the weather team in college, I think. Joe and I spent hours and hours making graphics and figuring out the best way to tell you about the weather. And there's a lot of stories about Joe, and some of them will be on my Facebook page. Joe always liked to compete like I did, and we always had fun. But we always knew one thing, that you always could change the TV station to somebody else, and we knew that. So we did everything we could think of to earn your trust. And for the past 11 years, I've had the good fortune to work with Amber Wheeler. First, she was a co-worker, but then we became friends. Amber and I look at our profession the same way, and I was always amazed that I would get up in the morning, get a cup of coffee, and she's already posting on social media, even on her days off. Amber was the best meteorologist that's ever been on TV in North Dakota. She has some of the best instincts I've ever run across. I was constantly asking her for help in tweaking a graphic or coming up with a better way to explain something. Man, North Dakota lost a good one when she left. Basically, Amber's the one that I look up to. And finally, none of this would have happened without the support of my family, my wife, Val. She supported me in so many different ways. One way, if I came home and said something kind of big-headed, she'd walk over, take a pen, pop my head. I got the message. So thank you, Val, for that. And of course, my daughter, Alex, my son, Nick. I got to work with both of them. How many dads get to say that? So now, after 46 years, it's time to simply say thank you. And I want to bring some friends in over here. I've got Joe and Alicia and Jim, Mike Heilman. Amy is here. Amy is going to be, she's over here in the orange. She is going to be the new meteorologist on KX beginning in about 3 minutes. You're the new chief.
Oh, gosh.
So thank you, North Dakota. You have given me more than I have given you. Have a good night.